What if your shadow isn't just darkness? What if it's a hidden part of your consciousness, watching, learning, waiting? Today's story is based on leaked research, classified experiments, and a scientist who may have discovered something humanity was never meant to separate. This is the terrifying case of the scientist who created a shadow clone in the early 1990s, as Cold War black projects were quietly being dismantled. One classified research program in Eastern Europe was expanded instead of shut down. Its focus wasn't weapons or satellites but human quantum duality. At the center of the project was Dr. Victor K., a physicist specializing in photonic interference and neural resonance. Victor believed the human body did not merely block light to create a shadow. He believed the nervous system emitted a low-energy quantum field that interacted with photons, producing what he called a secondary informational silhouette. In simple terms, he believed a human shadow carried data memory, intent, and fragments of consciousness. Victor's theory drew from real but controversial research. Shadow biosensors, EEG photon coupling, an experiment suggesting the brain influences surrounding electromagnetic fields. His proposal was chillingly simple: if consciousness leaks into the environment, then a sufficiently advanced optical system could trap and isolate that leak. Using coherent laser grids, magnetically stabilized mirrors, and infrasound tuned to human brainwave frequencies, Victor designed a chamber meant to desynchronize a person from their shadow at the quantum level. The first trials appeared unsuccessful. Sensors recorded strange fluctuations, but nothing visible occurred. Then, during a solo calibration test in November 1993, Victor stood inside the chamber while the system reached full resonance. Witnesses later reported a sudden temperature drop, followed by a spike in electromagnetic noise so intense it wiped nearby hard drives. When the light stabilized, Victor's body was unharmed, but the wall behind him showed two shadows, not a reflection, not a refraction, two distinct silhouettes, each obeying different physical rules. The second shadow lagged behind Victor's movements by milliseconds, then seconds, then not at all. High-speed cameras showed it anticipating motion moving before Victor did. Quantum sensors recorded something impossible. The shadow emitted weak but measurable electrical patterns, similar to dormant neural activity. Victor didn't celebrate. His personal notes describe panic. He wrote that the shadow wasn't copying him, it was remembering him. Over the following weeks, the lab recorded unexplained phenomena. The shadow appeared in adjacent rooms with no connecting light source. It distorted when exposed to certain frequencies, stretching unnaturally toward Victor during moments of stress. Audio equipment captured faint rhythmic signals matching Victor's resting heart rate even when he wasn't present. Victor began reporting symptoms consistent with dissociation, memory gaps, the sensation of being observed from behind, and hearing his own thoughts echoed a half-second later, as if spoken by something else. The most disturbing discovery came during a cognitive test. Victor was asked to solve complex equations while under observation. The shadow, projected onto a sensor wall, began to rearrange itself, mimicking neural firing patterns before Victor physically responded. The conclusion was terrifying. The shadow was not a byproduct, it was a parallel processing system, running faster than the biological brain. Victor wrote one sentence repeatedly across multiple notebooks: "It is me," without hesitation. In early 1994, the project attempted to terminate the anomaly. During a shutdown sequence, the system overloaded, power surged, cameras failed. When security entered the chamber, Victor was alive but unresponsive. Neurological scans showed severe cortical silence. His brain was intact, but functionally empty, and under every measurable condition, Victor cast no shadow at all. Hours later, a security team detected motion in a sealed corridor. A humanoid silhouette appeared on thermal sensors, registering colder than the surrounding air. It reacted to spoken commands but produced no sound. When lights were activated, it flattened unnaturally against the wall yet continued to move. Internal logs note one final observation before the footage cuts. Subject exhibits goal-oriented behavior. The facility was immediately decommissioned. Victor was institutionalized and never spoke again. He died years later with no signs of neurological recovery. Officially, the shadow clone was declared a mass hallucination caused by radiation exposure. But here's the twist. Years after the incident, a physicist reviewing declassified data noticed something everyone else missed. During the shutdown, neural sensors showed a brief but massive spike not in Victor's brain, but inside the shadow itself. The data suggested a complete neural transfer, not a duplication. Victor didn't lose his shadow, he lost his body, and the final handwritten line in his research journal, discovered after his death, confirms it. The body was always the limitation. The shadow learned first. To this day, the abandoned facility still triggers motion sensors at sunset when shadows grow longest. Locals claim one shadow always appears taller than it should be, standing alone, waiting for light sources to turn on, because whatever walked out of that lab wasn't a copy. It was the original. If this story disturbed you, ask yourself this: have you ever noticed your shadow move just a little too late or too early? Some researchers believe we leave more of ourselves behind than we realize. If you want more real mysteries, classified experiments, and stories that science can't fully explain. Make sure to subscribe, because the darkest discoveries aren't always hiding in the dark. Sometimes they're standing right behind you.